Good morning. All right, it is 7:01. Just it seems I don't know if it seems earlier or later, but it's been a while since we've been back with any consistency. But those of you who follow us on social media, we've already made the announcement. We are days away from launching to our new location. We've been in this building on Hamilton Avenue at least 10 years now, in the East End for about 13 years. All right, and the opportunity presented itself to make a move, and we weighed all the factors. So this wasn't something we took lightly. 20 years of building the community that we've built, and I'm very, very proud of it. I think it's safe to say, I don't ever speak for anyone else, but my wife and I both are very proud of the community that we created, and we intend to continue that legacy, just not here. The new location will be at 1 Alexander's Center. 1 Alexander's Center over in Freeport on Freeport Road. So from where we are now, if you drop a pin in the map, bing, straight down Washington Boulevard across the Highland Park Bridge, hit 28, and you are there in maybe 10 minutes. All right. If you're coming from work, they're already on the other side, 28. Put it this way, you're coming from downtown Pittsburgh or the north side, step out your office, make a left, hit 28, and you're at our front door in less than 10 minutes. All right. 28 is an expressway for those of you who don't know. All right. The only issue that I do understand, you have to cross what is the legend? You have to cross a moving body of water. So if you're a vampire, that may preclude you from crossing. Other than that, you're good. But anyway, we're very excited about the building. Alexander Center started off, this is how old I am, all right? This is how old I am. In the late 70s, racquetball was a thing. And two racquetball clubs opened up in Pittsburgh. One of them just down the street from where I'm sitting now on Penn Avenue. It was Racquetball One. I believe it started in 1979, which would evolve into Club One, where I would work as an undergrad while at the University of Pittsburgh, where my wife would work like a decade later when she was an undergrad at the University of Pittsburgh, and where I would actually come to meet her. The owners over there, close family friends to this day. It was without doubt one of the greatest places to work, to be a part of. And I will tell you this, I think maybe subconsciously the community that Jimmy and Linda built over there set the tone for, I think, the community that my wife and I would build, 20 some odd years later, with our CrossFit Pittsburgh gym. And so that, yeah, that was I think that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. You look at it in those terms. But the other racquetball club that opened up at the same time, roughly the same time, was called Wallbangers, and it was at 2585 Freeport Road. So now get this, because this is kind of comical. I grew up in the Bloomfield area, all right? And one afternoon I get a call from a classmate of mine, and he's like, "Hey, I just started to play racquetball. Let's go, let's go over." And I was like, "All right, great." So where we were from our neighborhood, two choices, both of them about the same time frame to get there, minutes, all right? So I'm assuming that we would have come here to Penn Avenue. So he comes and picks me up. I mean, honest to God, we shoot down, where were we from? Cut through Stanton Heights, hit the Highland Park Bridge just past the zoo. We hit 28. We're at Wallbangers Racquetball Club at 2585 Freeport Road. And the very, very parallel journeys. It started out exclusively racquetball and then developed a small fitness center. That fitness center on both, these were two separate businesses, mind you, that those racquetball courts expanded and maintained racquetball, but they expanded into fitness centers. And um, Alexander's Athletic Club is still there, still going strong. Now the building is still owned by the Alexander family. Um, Alexander's Athletic Club was sold to another owner who my wife and I got to meet a week or so ago. I think this is going to be a great rapport. So this, they're on one side of the building, we're on the other side, and it's a, professional building upstairs and down. It's this is the move. This is the move. We are. I can't express how excited we are. Right. It's a beautiful facility, beautiful campus, like 430 safe, secure, off-street parking spaces, ample room to run outside without being accosted, molested, or vandalized in any way, shape, and form by the population, because there is no population hanging out outside. Anyway, um, like I said, I mean, we've moved a few times over the years, and I have to tell you, um, see this? You see all this? None of this was gray when we first opened our doors. So it's been 20 years, and I wouldn't trade a minute of it. And I have to tell you, it's exhausting, but in the best possible way, right? It's exhausting, but in the best possible way. It's like every spare minute I'm in here, and this wall behind me, probably the last piece to go, because we're breaking down the office, the conference area next door, methodically taking out things that we're going to move to the new location systematically, and yeah, huh, it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. And those of you who've ever studied your history, or uh, I hate to say it, but we study history. We take these great stories and then we trivialize them, with a T-shirt or a bumper sticker or a slogan. But the way I'm looking at this is there is no looking back. Not a blink, not a moment. If you've ever heard the expression "burn the ships," all right, um, curiosity is getting the best of me. I gotta know. Um, and I should know this. I think it's absolute fatigue, but yes, I was correct, correct, correctamundo. Uh, in the 1500s, during the Spanish exploration of the New World, right? Hernan Cortez, when they hit landfall on the American continent, um, he actually burned their ships. That was his message to his men, that there was no going back. Well, now it's, you know, I don't know, it's like, oh, burn the ships, oh, use AI to create your whatever, But truthfully, solidly, it's exactly how I feel right now. There is no looking back. Everything rests on the horizon, on the future. And like I said, I just right now I keep kind of going in this perpetual loop, and it's awesome. I've never ever every time we've relocated, I just told my son this the other day. There were times at each of our new buildings that we moved into. I would get there, set up, Jen would be there, the kids, and of course, they were smaller at the time. I mean, my gosh, 5'3" and basically, 1 year old when we first opened. But when they were smaller, they'd come and run and play, but they had to be taken home, fed, bathed, and put down for the night. But there were times, more than once, that I said, all right, I'm just going to stay a little bit longer and do a little bit more work. And 3, 4 a.m., I'd roll home, get a couple hours of sleep, wake up exhausted. But the good exhaustion, right? Come back, coffee up, and do it again. And I'll tell you, this was so messed up, but I'll share it with you because it's funny. Um, the first day open for business, we opened with no members, zero members. It was passion. It was 100% passion and love of CrossFit. That was it. So we opened a CrossFit affiliate with zero members. But once we put out the word, I'll never forget this. We got an email. We had a very, very primitive website. I made it myself, and honestly, I think it was bad. It was bad. But you realize what you had to work with at the time. The only platform I could find for like a do-it-yourself was I think it was Yahoo based. And so I did this real primitive website, and we had email, right? We set up email. Uh, Scusi. We set up, and I got an email from this young man, City of Pittsburgh, newly graduated City of Pittsburgh firefighter. And he writes, "Hey, in the firefighting community, we hear a lot about CrossFit. I see you're opening a location. I have two friends would love to get involved." So I wrote back and I said, "Hey, great." I said, we're actually not open yet. It's imminent. We're having, the space was all set, ready to go, freshly painted and all that. We were actually waiting on our first equipment delivery. So I told him that. So he writes back as only an enthusiastic young CrossFitter would do. And he's like, "Hey, man, that's fine." He's like, "You just tell us when the equipment's coming. We'll come over and help you unbox it." So, but, I don't know. I think if you tried that business model, or maybe you're a business major and you write a paper on that as your startup plan, you probably get laughed off campus, right? But that was it was I'd do it again. I would do it again. So, as far as, and here's the truth, it's always risky when you make a move. But the worst risk, the highest risk, is not making a move. All right? It's not. When you realize, it's a trivialized version again, but what's the thing? When you look for a home, when you look for a business, what are the three most important? I don't make fun. I just hate those. When you make, what are the three most important things to look for? Location, location, location. Right? Well, it is. It absolutely is. And a better, safer location, I don't do that for me. All right. Um, I've been in some of the nastiest places on the face of this earth, and I always did okay. All right. But my wife, my daughters, my son, our members, and their families, their safety is paramount. I will not compromise that. I will not. All right. So, um, now that's that. That's it, and that's all. And we're super, super excited. Matter of fact, we've put out some. We start off this every so often, like, hey, let's do some spring cleaning. And if we have some equipment that is still absolutely serviceable, just no. Here's an example: the Rogue climbing ropes. The old school hemp climbing ropes. Um, we had three of them here in the new space. This is funny. 20 years. The first two climbing ropes I bought were marine line. Um, Literally, inch and a half, but they were a marine weave that can get wet, stay wet, exposure to salt water. These things are virtually indestructible. We had a 15-foot high ceiling in our first location. I bought two, and they have worn, how do I want to say this? They haven't worn. The wear and tear on these ropes is virtually nil. They are as good, if not better, than they were when we first got them. They're still hanging up in our space. Also, around the same time, maybe, yeah, it might have been the next generation. We wanted more ropes, so I bought two poly, some kind of poly blend, and used one outside at our house. And as you can imagine, that one got a little bit, it didn't wear badly, did not wear badly, but from the elements, exposure to the elements, rainwater and so forth. I hung it from a tree in our backyard, but exposure to rain and so forth, it got pollinated, I guess, not mold. I guess maybe it's a variation of mold. It's probably some science guy out there going, "Well, actually, that is a spore, and spores are mold." You know what I mean? Like it turned from the pollen in the air, but it didn't affect the durability. It's still, I actually, I think I pressure washed it a couple of times over the years, hung it back up. But so the two marine lines and the polymer line are still here. They're still going strong. Then the other three were Rogue hemp. And again, that user preference, right? Some people like the hemp because it's tactile. It's I don't know, a little bit like sandpaper, right? Some people don't like it because of that, because if you're not careful, it'll chew you up. But The first three we bought, I don't even remember how long they lasted, but it was not long. It wasn't. They start and once they started to go, once they started to fray, and I think cause and effect as they hung. This building has structurally, it's got I beams every maybe 15 feet, so like a grid pattern. The new space will not have that, which it's the little things, right? They were here, we worked around them, and it worked. But I think it's one of those scenarios where you don't know how nice it is not to have something until you don't have it. And then you have a contiguous, uninterrupted space, which is awesome. And I think I'm not criticizing Rogue's ropes at all. I mean, Rogue doesn't make them; they sell them. It's hemp. But um, I think the natural fiber wears differently. And one of the things that we did was just out of trial and error, as they hung on an I beam on the ceiling, we would pull them to the side and wrap them around the I beam posts. And I'm not sure if that little bit, and they're smooth. It wasn't like they were razor sharp or edgy, but I'm wondering if just wrapping around and leaving them there, now we're not under any pressure. The only weight was the weight, their own weight. But I'm wondering if that created a little bit of an abrasion every time you did it. Who knows? Um, the new ones we replaced them with, we didn't do that to retain them. I put like a simple bungee around the I beam, and then we would just loop the climbing rope through it. But we'll see. Here's the punchline though. The punchline is these are 15-foot ceilings here in this building, and those are 15-foot ropes. The new location has 20-foot ceilings. So anyway, these ropes are hopefully on their way to a better home, and we're going to get some longer ropes. Anyway, in the process of doing that, we just started to take a look at every piece of equipment we've accumulated over the years that has fallen into disuse. We just don't need it, don't use it, so we've stacked them, stored them, put them in every little nook and cranny. So what we've been doing is giving some of them away. You know, giving some of them away. We'll post that on Facebook, and a couple sets of, I think, what do we have left? Couple full sets of Atlas stones, and those are actually kind of cool, old school, like before Rogue came up with the what do they call them, Atlas stone sandbags kind of thing, which is a great idea conceptually. It really, really is. But these are the old school molded. I made them myself, and it was a hoot. We've got some really good molds from Rogue, and mixed the concrete. Actually added this. I believe it's like it's shredded like fiberglass. So these fibers that you throw into the concrete mix it all up. So when you pour them, like inside that concrete ball, you have these like fiberglass, like shreds like fiber, and that reinforces the Atlas stone, right? But I think they're 5 stones to a set, 45, 95, 105, 155. I mean, they go from small and manageable to large and heavy. But anyway, we got 2 sets of those left. I believe someone's coming for the jerk box. God, with this thumbs up, I don't. You know what? I hate it, but I love it. Um, Someone's coming for a jerk box set tomorrow. Built them, used them, and then didn't. So that was available. What else? Got a lot of cool stuff. So if you're in the market, if you're interested, check out Facebook Marketplace. And we still have a lot of things to. We're culling the herd, so to speak. Culling the herd. As I look at the security camera with a teary eye, am I going to miss delivery trucks and delivery drivers swarming like hornets all around the building? It's not like it's a hazard. Ah! Oh, anyway, things you won't miss. Um, but yeah, so check out the new space, 2585 Freeport Road, Pittsburgh, PA 15238 for CrossFit Pittsburgh's next chapter. All right, burning the ships and looking forward. As a great Italian race car driver said, every rental car he ever picked up anywhere he ever traveled. First thing he did, he jumps in the car, yanks off the rearview mirror, throws it in the back seat. He was with a reporter one day and he did that. And the reporter said to him, "Oh my God, why would you tear off the rearview mirror?" And the driver looks at him and said, "Because what's behind me is of no concern." All right. So have a great weekend. Have a great day. And CrossFit Pittsburgh, next chapter coming at you. All right. Have a great one.